Our final story is about another prolonged conflict that doesn't seem to be going away, and I'm talking about COVID-19. The pandemic itself may be over, but its impact continues to linger. Let me ask you a direct question. Do you think your health, your long-term health, has taken a hit since you came down with COVID? Now, you may have recovered from your bout of COVID months or even years ago, but do you still not feel 100% healthy? Now, over the years, we've all heard and read about long COVID, about brain fog, about prolonged periods of tiredness. But what about these sudden deaths that we're hearing about ever since COVID? We have heard, including in this country, about numerous instances of heart attacks, including among the young, the very young. Very recently, a 17-year-old girl died of a heart attack in India's Gujarat while performing the Garba. A 17-year-old dying of a heart attack is almost unheard of. She was among 10 others who lost their lives during Navratri celebrations. What explains these bizarre deaths? Research by ICMR, the Indian Council of Medical Research, has shown that COVID-19 can make our lungs and hearts weak and thus increase the risk of sudden death among the young. And by the way, the implications of that particular weakening in cities like Delhi or the NCR or Uttar Pradesh or Haryana, cities that are reeling with images like this, the horrible air pollution that we've been seeing, is another open-ended question. Who knows? Who knows what impact air pollution is going to have on people suffering from all of this? So that's yet another thing to worry about. Another study has made headlines this week. The study, published in the Lancet Healthy Longevity journal, found that COVID had lasting impact on the brain health of those aged 50 or over. Researchers studied 3,000 volunteers. They were asked to answer yearly questionnaires and take cognitive tests. What did the researchers found? Well, they found that the drop in cognitive function accelerated during the first year of the pandemic. This was the year of the global lockdown. The following year, the decline continued. Those who had memory problems before the pandemic had the unprecedented spurt in cognitive decline. So what do you think explains this? Well, here's a theory. You see, we humans are social animals, and COVID was all about social isolation. Many of those who had COVID were isolated for weeks at a stretch, and rest too. They were cooped up in their homes under the lockdown, in many cases away from their family, away from their friends, with limited or no real in-person interaction. Come to think of it, we should have seen this coming. You know, the impact of the lockdown, and especially for the old. Many of them living alone, away from their children, away from their grandchildren. Many of them also being isolated because their family didn't want them to be exposed to COVID, so they were particularly isolated. Now, does this mean that the old are now at a higher risk of cognitive issues like dementia or Alzheimer's? Now, frankly, we don't know the answers to that. It's a question for the doctors to answer. But anyway, we're going to wait for more studies and more medical opinion on all of this.